What's the worst thing you've done in the heat of the moment? Middle of summer, caught my girlfriend cheating, and in the heat of the moment threw my fan at the wall. I was not only sad and alone but sad, alone and sweaty that fateful night. My dad and I got into an argument when I was 6 years old, so I wrote my very specific, very rare first name across the side of his brand new car with a stone. When he asked me if I'd done it, I, of course, denied it profusely. I am talking Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice level of acting. I should have won a goddamned Oscar. So he sort of laughed and said, "You're telling me someone else came up to my car and scratched your name across it?" I denied it for a whole afternoon while, in fairness to him, my father giggled to himself. I couldn't figure out why he was giggling. Surely he was going to skin me alive later and wear me around town of a cold evening. He said he couldn't help laughing because the lie was so ludicrous, but I stuck by it so resolutely that it was one of the funniest situations he'd ever been in. He knew he should punish me, but it was also so marvelous he couldn't bring himself to be angry. I'm nearly 36. Every time he gets a new car now he says, "You're not mad at me for something, are you?" before he shows it to me. I guess I earned that. Texting when I'm pissed off. The anger goes away, the text remains for eternity. Sometimes I write a really long message then delete it before I send because the anger I've put into writing it usually goes before I am finished spell checking it. I don't know about heat of the moment, but when a cop asked why I thought I could go that fast down that road, I, without thinking, responded, "Because I always do," then realized what my mouth had just said without consulting my brain, and proceeded to lay my head against my steer wheel forcefully in shame. I'm sorry to comment just to laugh at you, but holy fuck did you make me laugh just now. I feel like this could be a classic moment in some stoner buddy comedy movie or something. Would you like to hear how I made it worse? Are you kidding me? Of course. Okay, for context, the cop was driving an unmarked Crown Vic. Not a undercover, just unmarked. It had the mirror light, the push bars, the wheels, but no light bar or markings. So here I am with a steering wheel on my head and a foot in my mouth, and I turn my head as the cop asks, "But why would you think you could do it next to a cop? Did you just not see me?" And again without a group meeting my mouth says, "No, I saw you. I just didn't think you were a cop." He closes his eyes for a second and shakes his head and sighs in mild shock and disappointment, expressing an emotion I am feeling only multitudes more. Then, almost taking pity on my dumb ass, he was a nice guy, asks, "Well, what are you, late for work or something?" I was in a retail store work polo. And for the third fucking time my mouth does not meet with any of the higher-ups and or the PR department says, "Actually, I'm pretty early," proudly because it was rare. His brow scrunches and he give me this, "Why?" Look, pauses as I melt once again as my head meets the wheel percussively and asks, "You are not having a good day, are you?" And I could have just said yeah, but instead I said, "I was until we meet." As I looked at him horrified at what I had all just said, he says to me with a smirk and a chuckle, "Why don't you just sit right there and not talk anymore while I go take care of this?" The biggest case of self-sabotage. I was probably 10 to 12 hanging out with the neighborhood kids, one being a few years younger. He was being annoying as fuck and wouldn't stop, so after a few minutes of constant annoyance I threw my scooter at him, hitting his head. No serious injuries, but he needed a few stitches. I knew I fucked up the instant the scooter left my hands. I threw a heavy science textbook at my best mate in high school. It hit him full in the face and broke his nose. I can't even recall what he'd done to annoy me so much. I had gotten into a fist fight with my stepdad when I was 14 and got kicked out of the house. My dad picked me up and was lecturing me about making good decisions and asked me, "Do you want to grow up to be a criminal loser?" I told him, "At least I want work a dead and shit job and grow up to be like you." The instant it left my mouth I regretted it. He even shot back with, "Exactly, I want you to be better than me." And I could tell it hurt him. The shitty part is, he did everything for me and still does. That conversation pops into my head from time to time, and I still feel horrible about it. I did apologize to him later that same day. What I said came from a shitty place and he knew that. Regardless, I still think about it, and it bothers the hell out of me that I could say something like that to someone who did nothing but try and make my life infinitely better than his was growing up. I didn't do it, but it happened near me. I was working construction one summer, and a veteran, Guy working with me got into a fight with the foreman and came back to the floor we were working on all pissed off, kicking things around. We were up on the 4th floor, and windows hadn't gone in yet. He picks up a huge level and flings it out the window, and about 5 seconds later says, "Fuck! That was mine!" Late night impulse buys. In the height of the pandemic, I ending up buying a little too expensive rowing machine for my apartment thinking I was going to be all fit. Now it's just collecting dust in a corner. My parents were tailors and they used to do a lot of work from home. They had really big, heavy metal scissors they used to use. I was very young. Under 10 for sure. My older brother did something to piss me off. I grabbed the scissor near me and threw it at him. It missed his eyes by a small fraction. He went ballistic on why would I do something like this. 25 plus years later, the memory still makes me sad how close I was to seriously injuring or killing my brother. Threw my engagement ring in a fjord. I coulda hawked that sucker. Did it feel good in the moment at least? So good. Turns out some things you can afford to lose. When I was in 10th grade, a classmate of mine pissed on my shoes. I did not snap right then and there, but he made fun of my looks a couple minutes later. I completely lost my shit, grabbed him by the neck and slammed his head into a steel beam. In hindsight, I realized that I could have killed him or disabled him for life, but luckily he got away with a bad concussion. Did he fuck with you again after that? No, he never fucked with me again, but he got kicked out of school a year later. So you won that battle and all other battles. Told a girl I could have spent the rest of my life with her, shaking my head. Mine is not telling a girl I could spend the rest of my life with her. So, there's that. The duality of man. Girlfriend cheated on me in high school. Girlfriend's temporary boyfriend had a friend who keyed my car. She told me who did it, and I decided the best way to handle it was to take a plunger stick and go into his job at the mall and beat him in the face with it until the stick broke. Not my proudest moment. That's some Ray Liotta shit though, haha. I assume you went to jail? Actually, I was never caught. A picture of me in the big jacket I was wearing was placed on the mall entrance though. It said I was banned from the mall. I shit in someone's shoe, because he got me lost in the city for 2 hours, in a bad part of town, with a dead phone and no way of finding my own way home. I play guitar in a bar band. One night many years ago, after a gig while loading up our equipment, some drunk guy decided he wanted to pick a fight. We tried to brush him off, but he wouldn't relent. Eventually, things got physical and I ended up having a scrap with him. I defeated him handily, as he was very drunk and I was not. He did not accept this result, and went to get some of his friends. They came back and attacked us from behind. Again, they were defeated. Only this time, I was very pissed off. People were dragging Mr. Drunk and his pals away from our trailer when I spotted his baseball hat next to our back tire. I was so fired up that I picked it up and held it in the air to show it to him, then dropped it on the ground, exposed my penis, and pissed all over it in front of the crowd of people that had gathered. It felt very powerful in the moment. Until the police officer that the venue called to help us deal with these fuckers walked around the corner and saw me standing there with my dick in my hand. 2 victories followed by a crushing defeat. Tough night at the office. Did not pull out. Please stop telling people this, Dad. I work hospital security, and we hold a lot of violent psych patients until they can be transferred to a behavioral facility. This surprisingly strong old man assaulted a nurse when she was trying to change his briefs, and I responded first. I was wrestling with the guy and trying to hold him in the bed until backup got there. He finally calmed down, looked me in the eye, and told me something to the effect of, "When I get out of here, I'm going to kill you and rape your wife." And I responded, "Big words for a man in a diaper. I've never seen anyone rage harder." Dude genuinely tried his best to kill me. But thankfully my coworkers got there right afterward and nobody got hurt. Your response was hella funny, hahaha. Peak pandemic after coming off a furlough, resigning from my dream company, thinking was going to be laid off, and taking a new job across the country and moving my family. Could have stayed and would have avoided a layoff, kids would have kept their friends, wife and I would have kept our community. Did all of this thinking I was doing the right thing, have had such regrets. I was being lightly scolded by my boss, and instead of rolling with it, I got pissed and told him, "You know what, suck my dick," and left. I was not in a financial situation to quit at the time, and regretted my decision the entire elevator ride out of there. But looking back now, it's easy to say, worth it. My sister and I were in a bad fight, so after storming out of the room, I turned around and spoiled Game of Thrones. Was the most brutal victory I ever achieved. She lost her shit. I ruined my mother's Tupperware party by taking a shit in a potted plant. I have no idea what I was thinking or why I even did it, really. By all accounts, I was like 2 or something. I'm sorry, Mom. Can we please just let it go? For what it's worth, having worked with little kids for several years, I found pooping is one of the few measures little guys have to wield power. Like cats peeing on your bed when they are literally pissed. You may have genuinely felt overwhelmed by the crowd and your mom's split attention. Sounds like you won too. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.